Hey everybody, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 favorite Hasbro Marvel Legends. Now, before we get started, a couple things with this video. You can go ahead and skip to the time code if you just want to get into the nitty gritty. But a lot of these figures I no longer have reviews of. I hit the reset button on my channel a little while ago, and I'm not going to redo the reviews for these guys just because it's been years since some of these figures have had reviews done. Everyone's done it by now. So I just wanted to go ahead and do a top 10 list just to give you an idea of what my favorites are in my collection. I have a lot of Marvel Legends to choose from. This was a pretty tough list. This is my subjective favorites. If it's different from yours, hopefully that's okay. It most likely will be. Again, these are just the figures I think are the most favorite in my collection. Turns out there's no female figures on the list. I really did want to put a female, but it just so happened that the top 10 figures that did make it to the list just so happened to be male. Eventually, I would like to do a top 10 female Marvel Legends list just because there are some pretty good female Marvel Legends out there. There is not a Iron Man on the list, which is a little disappointing, but I just want to do an honorable mention. My favorite Iron Man being the classic Iron Man here from the 80th anniversary line. My favorite Build-A-Figure is probably going to be the Juggernaut here because I don't really have enough to make a top 10 favorite Build-A-Figures list right now. And my favorite Wolverine is the 2018 Apocalypse Series Wolverine. I was considering figures mostly from 2014 Hasbro stuff up until this year, but the oldest figure on this is going to be from 2017, and the newest figure is going to be 2019. Right now, 2020 figures aren't on the list. Eventually, they'll probably make it on the list in maybe like a couple years of when I redo this list. It's just it's a little too new for some of these figures to be on the list to put them on there, even though there's some really great stuff for 2020 with Marvel Legends. So let's go ahead and start at number 10. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the GameStop exclusive PS4 Spider-Man. Now, eventually the retro Spidey might take the place of this guy, but right now that's just a little too new of a figure to do that. And we have the Pizza Spidey figure, but for me, that's just a little outdated at this point with that body mold and all that. Still a great Spider-Man figure. This guy's nowhere near perfect, but I just had a lot of fun when I originally got him back in 2018. Yeah, he could have some better details and texturing because he doesn't really have any details like the suit does in the game. It's just mostly this paint job. It's just a very basic paint job of the PS4 suit, and I really don't like the head either. But it's overall still, for me, a really solid figure. I've had a lot of fun posing this figure around over the past couple years. I don't even particularly like the suit that much, and it's just a really fun figure. Something about the body mold, the way that the accessories that he comes with, and the paint job on this figure just come together is just really well done. At number 9, I have the 2018 Sasquatch series Deadpool. Now, it was either this or the 2016 Juggernaut series that was going to take my top Deadpool spot, and they were both very close with each other. The Juggernaut Series 1 comes with more accessories. It has a little bit more unique details in certain areas, but with this one, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because it looks a lot like the 90s one, which is what they were going for, and they just executed it well, or the body mold that they used. The paint applications are really clean. Either way, a combination of things just make me really like this Deadpool figure a lot more, and play around with this a lot more than the 2016 one. Again, I like that one, but for this, it's just an extremely well done figure. You could still use guns with this guy, he just doesn't really come with anything. Articulation is still pretty great. Comes with some pretty unique parts like the leg pouches and the harness that he has around his chest are really good. The swords could be a little bit better, but that head sculpt is also fantastic. So it's just a really awesome Deadpool figure overall. Number 8 is going to be the 80th anniversary Captain America figure from 2019. So this guy initially had a pretty good amount of quality control issues, mostly with the paint. With my figure, the alternate head that he comes with, not this one here that you're seeing, but the different one, the eyes were really wonky for all the ones I've seen in stores. And some paint issues where the red and the white meet in the stomach. I'm not a big fan of the shield system that he has, which is that clip system. I just never really liked that type of shield, so I had to give him an MCU Captain America shield just because those have actual straps. But this figure is still really solid. It's my favorite Captain America in my collection, especially with a lot of the new stuff going on with that new head sculpt. As you can see, a lot of this figure is awesome. The body mold might have a little bit of reuse, I'm not entirely sure, but if it is reuse, it's appropriate and it's done really well. The upper chest is really awesome with the scales and some paint variation in the scales up in the chest. It's just a really nice Captain America that pops out in your collection, and it's a Captain America figure that hopefully everybody owns. At number 7, I gotta give it to the Super Skrull series Doctor Doom. He's my favorite Marvel villain, and they just did such a great job with this figure. I've been waiting years for a Doctor Doom figure like this. Some of the issues are mostly that the body mold sort of gets in the way of articulation. It's mostly in the torso and where the legs are. The skirt piece doesn't really get in the way of that much articulation, but also the plastic on him is a little bit stiff, the way he's made and all that, but it's still a really solid figure. I really like the fist that he comes with. He comes with a gun holding hand as well as an actual gun that looks like a gun. It doesn't look like a dumb sci-fi weapon. He comes with an open hand for, holding anything that he wants. Alternate heads. It's just such a really well done figure. I'm so happy with it. Number 6 is going to go to the 2018 Caliban Series Beast figure. This thing is extremely awesome. Seriously, this is one of the best sculpted figures I've ever seen Hasbro Marvel Legends release. So much good stuff about this figure. The only problems I really have is that he doesn't come with an additional head sculpt. He just has the head sculpt that you see here. And his left hand, both alternate left hands, just look a little too similar to me. I wish we got both fists and open hands. Those are pretty minor complaints, honestly. This thing is just awesome with the articulation. Really awesome comic accurate sculpt and details. And he's got total articulation. He has so much articulation that is just so good about this figure. It is extremely well done. I keep saying it over and over again, but man, great sculpting. The fur is just extremely well done on this guy. I don't know if we'll ever get a blue beast again. We have a couple different beasts, like the dark beast, and then we have the gray beast that we have. And this one is a little bit harder to get now, but it is still an extremely well done figure. We're getting down to the top 5, and at number 5 we have the 80th anniversary Hulk figure from the first appearance Wolverine and Hulk 2-pack, which I really only wanted this figure, so I wasn't the happiest. I had to pay $60 for a Wolverine I didn't really want, just to get a Hulk figure that I really, really wanted, but I'm still very happy to have this figure. I think this is one of the best Hulk figures, at least in the 6-inch scale, in a very long time. It is extremely well done. I'm glad that we have a really unique body mold for this guy and not just a previous Hasbro Marvel Legends Hulk figure that they could have done, which those body molds are fine, but the one on this guy just works extremely well for a comic Hulk. Some of the shading in the green is actually really good. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I do wish he came with an alternate head. He just has the gritting teeth one here. I wish he came with a screaming head, but it's still a really nice figure. And he comes with a good amount of accessories like the fists and a ripped t-shirt. And as you can see here, we have the more open hands. Articulation actually isn't that hindered, unlike some other bulky characters that we get in the Marvel Legends line. Now, the forward for the butterfly joint isn't the greatest, but other than that, you can really get him into any Hulk pose that you want. And it's just an extremely well-detailed, well-articulated, and just overall well-done figure. At number 4, I have the Walgreens exclusive Thing. This thing is just freaking awesome, seriously. This is probably the go-to Thing figure. I mean, we have the retail version, but I just really like this version a lot more. If you aren't able to get this one, though, I mean, the retail versions is another substitute that is, I think, just as good from what I've seen. Just doesn't have nearly the paint apps like this one here. You can see all the really nice wash going on there in the creases, as you can see, of the rocks. It's just a really well done figure. When this originally came out in 2018, I had a little bit low on my favorite Marvel Legends list, and Kane Parker's Scarlet Spider was the #1 that year. It's still a great figure, but I've come around. This figure, to me, is the best figure when it comes to Marvel Legends of 2018, and it is just a really well done figure when it comes to the unique sculpt, the articulation. It doesn't get in the way of any poses that you really want, even with that sculpt. It's just super clean and extremely awesome. Number 3 is going to go to the Netflix Punisher from the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure series. To this day, I still think this is my favorite Punisher. We've gotten a couple over the years. We got a couple this year, I'm pretty sure, with that new motorcycle one. Then there was another one, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But this one here, I just come back to almost every time. It's just such a fun figure. I think the reason why I like this figure so much is kind of like the same reason why I like the Fox X-Men stuff that we're getting with Marvel Legends, just because I never thought we would ever get this figure. And when we do get it, it's knocked out of the park almost immediately. Like this thing is just so clean. A lot of the details on here are awesome. Brand new stuff that is going on with this figure. Some of it has been reused by now, but it's appropriate enough reuse for certain characters. And I'm hoping that we do get it for other characters, like maybe I don't know, blade. That would be cool. The ball joint in the waist for the articulation isn't the greatest, I think, but it's still fine. The arms, they really just have single joint elbows. I wish they figured out a way to do double joints. I mean, he could still get into some good gun shooting poses and all that, but it's just a little bit hindered in the arms. But the head sculpt for John Bernthal is pretty good. It's not 100% perfect, but I think it's good enough. He actually comes with realistic looking weapons that aren't, sci-fi weapons. So that's always a plus. These things, those weapons are just awesome. This figure is just, again, a really solid release, and I'm very happy to still have it. At number 2, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Titus Series Star-Lord figure. You might be thinking, what the hell? This is where you lose me. This is really your second favorite Marvel Legends? Yes, it is. I know that sounds weird, but Guardians of the Galaxy is probably my favorite film in the MCU. Same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That's a very good film. And I just ended up really liking Star-Lord's character a lot. And this figure is what I really wanted out of a figure for Star-Lord. Like, the first one that we got in 2014 was very subpar. It was good at the time, but then when we got this, it just blew it out of the water. So much good new details for this figure. They usually do completely new sculpts for characters in the MCU, and this one's no different. It's just extremely well done all the way down from the boots up to the head sculpt. The head sculpts look really good, depending on which version you got, which there was 3 different versions. A 2-pack one that came with Ego. Then we got the Mantis series one with a longer coat, and then we have this one from the Titus series. Either way, I think all 3 heads are really well done. So this is the one from the Titus series, of course. Really nice amount of accessories. The helmet head that he comes with also is just extremely well done with great sculpting and paint. It just has really impressed me still over the years. I am very happy to still have it. And this is another figure that sometimes when I see it and I want to play around with it, I just can't put it down for a while. And my number 1 favorite Hasbro Marvel Legends figure is the Man-Thing series Netflix Daredevil. If you hear any construction outside, I do apologize. There's not much I can do about it. It's extremely loud today. Some of you may be thinking, seriously, this is your favorite figure from Marvel Legends? Yes, it is extremely well done. It's very much a similar case to what we have with the Netflix Punisher, because up until this figure was announced, I had no idea we were going to be able to get this, and I would never have honestly thought we would, which is why this figure to me is just so special, because I love the Netflix Daredevil show. Spider-Man is still my favorite superhero, but Daredevil is a very close second, so I'm always going to have a soft spot for Daredevil. This is just perfectly executes the suit from the show. Great articulation. Paint apps could be a little bit better in certain areas, like where some of the areas of the red, I wish they had some kind of like wash or something, but the texturing on the suit and the details are really good for this guy. Up until we got the armored Daredevil, we really didn't get alternate hands for comic book Daredevil figures. It was mostly just like fists meant for holding the baton, so no fists, With this guy here, he comes with clenched hands for the batons, and then we have fists, so that way you get, at least some good posing out of this guy, so you have different options for posing. And the batons themselves, I usually don't like Daredevil Marvel Legends batons, but these batons came out extremely well. The only thing that would have made this figure a little bit better was an unmasked Charlie Cox head that we got with the SDCC set, with the Defender set. I wish that we got it with this guy, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get that. This is, again, my favorite Hasbro Marvel Legends figure, at least right now, because of just how well done this figure is. I am so happy to still have it in my collection. If you give me a blank check to buy this figure off me, I'm throwing that in the trash. Seriously. I know that's a little over-exaggerating, but that's how much I like this figure. So that's pretty much it. That is my top 10 favorite Marvel Legends from Hasbro. Were you surprised to see figures on this list? Were there any that are on your favorites list? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll probably do some more top 10s in the future, but not right away. I have some ideas of some other ones I want to do. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the video, what you think about the figures and the choices that I have here, and I'll see you guys later.